Good evening, everyone. We are round 18, the penultimate round of Division 4 F1XL Formula 1 Championship. Welcome along to you guys if you are watching on the stream. And if you're watching this back after it's live, you are very welcome as well. We are racing around Monaco, and I think it's the first time this season that the same F1 race that has been on is also being raced on stream. So that's cool. It's exciting. Monaco, the race earlier on today was quite eventful. I won't give any spoilers away for those who haven't watched it yet, which could be a fair few, but who knows? So no spoilers here from me. And I would ask that you do the same for the Indy 500. It's currently finishing off at the moment. I'm going to due to watch that tomorrow. But anyway, the guys are out on track. We will go live to the action. And we have just under 16 minutes now left of qualifying. So these guys will be doing their thing. Let's bring the music down. And sound. There we go. Right. We only have 8 races this week. So far. There might be some more joining us in a little bit if they can get in during qualifying, which will be fine. That'll be good. Right. Here is the championship standings. This is what we're all looking for at the moment. Currently in the lead is AsthmaFrog, has been championship leader for quite a while now, since he took over from Richie and Smith when they got moved up. So as Brain Core just rounds the final turn and heads across the line to set the opening benchmark for time, 114.1. Rocket Game will go quite a bit faster than that, 112.8. So nice for them. Sander the Dad is coming round to finish a lap. We'll just watch him go by. So AsthmaFrog is in the lead of the championship, 205 points. Only came 5th last time out. The winner last time out, Lethal Linds, is chasing him down in the standings. Lethal Linds now only 18 points behind him. 187 points for Lethal Linds in the Ferrari. He, over the last 4 races, and I did some maths in preparation for this, as we see AsthmaFrog go fastest by 1.2 seconds there. That is a statement lap if ever I've seen one. So we'll let DNG Titan's on a lap now, so we'll have a look at him. He's next across the line. Right, so the past 4 races, AsthmaFrog has gained a total of 17 points. Lethal Linds, on the other hand, a total of 81 points. That's a 64-point swing in the championship over the last 4 races alone. And in most of those races, AsthmaFrog has grabbed pole position. So even though it's notoriously difficult to pass around this circuit, as we see DNG Titan set a 114.3 on track, there's only 8 people racing, and things can happen. Things can happen around this track, and we saw earlier on today, people can make passes, and it's definitely easier to make passes when you're on a video game rather than in real life. So it is all to play for. 3rd in the standings, currently not in the lobby, is Saucy Chris. I don't think he's coming. Let's check the... Yeah, so Saucy Chris was a tentative, so he might be here, he might not be here. So Saucy Chris is 3rd in the championship. He is not here. He has 167 points. Just behind him, Bray and Core in the Haas, 163 points. So Bray and Core is still within it. 42 points away from AsthmaFrog. It's mathematically still possible, but it's going to be tough, I think. Constructors Championship now is hotting up. Aston Martin currently in the lead, 334 points to Red Bull's 307 points. That's only 27-point gap. That is definitely overhaulable, as is the 38-point gap to Aston Martin that Ferrari have in third with 296. So both of those gaps still overhaulable. So it's all to play for in the Constructors Championship as well as the Drivers Championship. And that is where we stand currently with the points and everything on offer. So there we are. Pat Peters gone third, 112.5. Decent lap for him. Rocket Gamer just starting a new lap, I think. Lethal Linds is on an out lap. Let's jump on board with Lethal Linds as he goes around this track. Very, very famous circuit. 19 turns in total, many of which have names which I will murder the pronunciations of as we go around this lap. But there we go. We'll do that. And if you've never seen a lap around Monaco, watch out, because we're about to join Lethal Linds. And he pulls into the pit. Thanks, mate. Thanks for that. I was going to jump on board with you and show everyone a lap of Monaco, and you've come into the pits. And I know you're watching because you've been in the chat. So I am wearing my disapproving face right now. But, right, Rocket Gamer's coming around. Brain Core's on an out lap. We'll jump on board with him as well. Oh, that's a big smash there for Rocket Gamer. And the walls and circuit is ever so tight around here. And Rocket Gamer just found out the hard way. That is the first wing change that I've seen so far. I'm wondering if we should keep a tally of how many wings lost in this Grand Prix. Let us know in the chat when you have to change one. Oh, Lethal Lynn said he's damaged his wings coming out of the pits. Blimey. You didn't even make it around the track before you damage your wings tally. We've got a piece of paper here. Lethal Linds, Rocket Gamer. That's 2 already. And we've not even reached halfway point in qualifying. It's going to be fun. Right. Rocket Gamer will be coming into the pits. Brain Core's on a lap. He's currently 0.2 up. Right, so that's good. It's looking good for the Haas driver so far. Coming around final 2, some debris on the track still there from the Mercedes. What can Brain Core do? He improves up to 5th, 1 minute 12.9 for him. Sander the Dad is next to complete a lap, I believe. And this one doesn't look to be massively quick. I think he may have had some issues. So we might be going for another one. It might be coming back into the pits. Let's have a look. Right, Lethal Linds is on track now. So he is back. He's the only driver yet to set time. And we will jump on board with the Ferrari man for this lap of Monaco. And I'll do my best not to butcher the names. This is Ayrton Senna Straight, everyone. Down into turn 1, Saint-Devoux. And up the steep climb now through Beau Rivage. And at the top of the hill, the long left-hander of Massenet. Followed quickly by Casino's AsthmaFrog sets the fastest lap of the race. Down into the first part of Mirabeau, into the Grand Hotel hairpin. And then second part of Mirabeau now. 2 parts of Mirabeau. And then through Portier. turn number 8, and then into the famous tunnel. Such an iconic part of this track. And then this is going to be a hot overtaking maneuver down into the Nouvelle Chicane. Been remodeled many times over the years. And now this short straight down to the back. Take as much speed as you dare through the swimming pool section of the circuit, and then down into Rascasse, where Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari famously parked his car so that no one could go faster because of yellow flags. And then Lethal Linds across the line goes fourth fastest, 1:12.3. That was a lap of the Circuit de Monaco. There we've got a yellow flag as he just moves out the way for Rocket Gamer. Speeding on past. Who's on a lap? Sander's invalidated. Sander looks like he's on a lap. Pat Peter, he's also on a lap. Rocket Gamer. DNG Titan is just coming through to starting up now. So we'll jump on board with Sander the dad. And he comes into the pit. Andy! Pat Peter! He's invalidated. Will he come into the pits? He does not come into the pits. He's doing another lap. Good on you. And Panda's doing a lap. He's invalidated. Only a couple of places really that you can invalidate around here. The main I guess 3 places. Third one, you can definitely invalidate if you take too much curb, but if you take too much curb, and hey, Giles joined, fantastic. He must be finished with the Indy 500. So Panda's looking pretty good. Purple sector 1 coming through the hairpin. Turn 6 through Portier, now turn 8, and now onto the tunnel of curve now. Back from the Ferrari down the hill, big braking zone. Have to be really brave and try and take as much of the curbs as you can around Nouvelle Chicane. That is also the second place where invalidations, and then here's the third place where invalidations will become key. Looks like he's kept it nice and clean through the second part of swimming pool, through Rascasse now and into the pits. Handy again. None of you guys are doing me any favors. There we go. Also, let me know if you break a wing in the chat, and I'll update my wing tally. We currently have 2. 1 for Lethal Linds, 1 for Rocket Gamer, who we saw go into the wall, and literally no one's on track. Handy. AsthmaFrog, is he going out? He is going out. We'll jump on board with our championship leader, currently leading the way in the times. 1:11.3. That's a pretty good time indeed, and is a fair amount clearer of Panda. Oh, I just seen that comment, Brain Club. My favorite comes, don't tell button. Ah, you're very kind. Very kind indeed. To count me as your favorite comes. You may just be saying that to be nice. But that's all right, because I approve. I approve of the kind messages. Right, AsthmaFrog, championship leader, coming to start. What year did the tunnel here get built? It's a very good question. I have Wikipedia open. So, let's have a look. Where would it be? Track alterations. There we are. Armco barriers. It's not having a load. I don't know is the answer to that. And I'm not. I don't really care. But if you know what it is, early 1970s, fab, good stuff. AsthmaFrog stopped, letting someone go. I think he's had a bit of a moment there. As I was looking up Wikipedia, some random trivia. Like it, good stuff. It's seen quite a few alterations actually, surprisingly, the circuit. It's been good. Right, what do people like? Do people like Monaco? Or do they hate Monaco? I would love to know the general feeling. As Sander the Dad's actually gone up into second there, 111.7, so closing the gap to AsthmaFrog. Now let's have a look, see what he's doing. He's currently 800ths down on his best time, and that is an invalidation. You don't often see him around the hairpin there, but that is you don't want to take too much curb on the hairpin. Too tight you can go there, so AsthmaFrog going to do another one. Pat Peter improved his time by 0.8. He's now up into second, 111.7 as well, just pipping Sander the Dad. So Pat Peter looking nice and strong around this track. Panda has invalidated. Lethal Linds is in the pit. And, oh, that is the check flag, actually. That is creeped up on us. And D&G Titans crossed the line. Only good enough for 7th at the moment. Let's have a look at Sander the Dad. I think he's coming in. No, he's going to do another lap. Let's have a look. He's finishing off this lap. What will he do? No, he's... Right. Brain Core. Currently 700ths down. Will he be able to make any time up? No, he doesn't. He stays 8th. Does Brain Core. And AsthmaFrog's coming to the pits. Pat Peter is also coming to the pits as well. That is qualifying done. That is where we are. What is the can anyone tell me what the weather forecast is like? Because it didn't looked fairly overcast there, and I think there's some reports of not a lot of grip, and it might be because the track is a bit cooler there because of the overcast conditions. So it'd be handy to know the weather forecast. But there is our standings. Our final standings for qualifying. AsthmaFrog will lead away from pole position. The gap 0.3 he had over Pat Peter, who will line up alongside him on the front row. Sander the Dad and Panda will make up the second row, with only a couple of tenths separating those two times, and then a very tight battle on the third row. Lethal Linds and Rocket Gamer separated by hundredths of a second, and then the last row behind them, D&G Titan in 7th and Brain Core in 8th. Well, you say Asthma's in the wrong division, but he hasn't won a race for a while. There's been a massive points shift. So I politely disagree with you, and you're very welcome to your opinion. Right, I think it's poll time. We all have a good poll. Who Who will win the race? Okay, so AsthmaFrog's going to be one. We're going to have Pat. We will have Lethal Linds, and then we will have somebody else. And if someone else, let me know in the chat. Well, put a bit of music on. So we're going to be starting off at past. A couple of minutes away from that as everyone starts their strategy. It looks a bit brighter. It just says HJ just joined. I'm not sure he's in time. He did kind of come in and he did get in during qualifying, but I don't know if he disconnected or something, or if he wasn't able to pick the car. I think he might be a bit too late, so he might just be racing with the 8 drivers. Right, brain core. Panda. It's gone for Panda. Asthma will bin it, and I'm too slow. Page out in his car on the grid. Okay, so he's in the car. Okay, that's cool. Right, so H Zhao's in. Happy days. Oh, he is. He has waded in. There we go. Fab. Right, what are we looking at in the poll? You got 50% AsthmaFrog, 50% somebody else. That's fair. And we'll be on front wing watch as well. We have a wing tally going on. I may miss a few. So do let us know how many you get through at the end of this race, and we'll tally them all up. But I've got 2 so far from qualifying, and the race is going to be away pretty soon. Okay, this guy's going to be away on the formation lap. Let's have a look at tires. Who has gone for what? Right, so our opening 2 on the front row have gone for the hard compound tires. Looking like a 1-stop race. Potential 2-stop of double medium and hard. As the game says, but I'm not so sure about that. I think it would just be a 1-stop race unless we have a bunch of safety cars, which is definitely possible here. Then we have Sander the Dad, who's in 3rd, who's kind of sandwiched by a sea of hard tyres. He's gone for the mediums. We've got Panda, Lethal Linds, and Rocket Gamer behind him, all on the hard tyres. We have DNG Titan on the medium, Brian Core on the hard tyres, and Hake Zhao, who missed out qualifying, has opted to go on the medium compound tyre. So 3 of the 9 racers? What would you say? Pilots? You'd say pilots. These things are pretty high tech, but drivers. 3 of the 9 gone for the mediums. Everyone else has gone for the hard compound tyres. Be interesting to see how good a start Sander the Dad makes. Or just as I close the vote, someone voted for Lethal Linds, so that's tied up the vote completely between AsthmaFrog, Lethal Linds, and somebody else. No faith in Pat Peter. That's a shame. He's on the front row. He could do it. Let's see what's going to happen as the guys all line up onto the grid. One of the most famous races in all of motorsport. The action is going to be thick and fast, frantic, and it's going to be an interesting race. How many will survive? Who will take the throne? This is a rather long hold. Come on, game. There's only so many cliches I can come out with before we start. Here we go. Oh, looks like we had a bit of a break because the Engine Titan left the session. He was the host. AsthmaFrog gets away from the start. Yes, a lightning start. So was Sander the Dad on his medium tyres. He has jumped Pat Peter up into turn 1. Right, let's have a look at some moves further behind as Titan his AI is getting passed by everyone. So that is that going into the hairpin. AsthmaFrog is currently in the lead by 0.4 of a second from Sander the Dad, and Sander the Dad is hot on his heels. Titan is joined again. Fab, that is good. He is down in 7th at the moment. There's going around the circuit. Only one DRS opportunity on this circuit, but there are plenty of places that people can get creative and do a bit of passing and take Zhao on the back of Brian Court, getting pretty close between those guys. King Jamie is joined, but you are too late. Sorry, mate. AsthmaFrog. Okay, so this is where we're at on lap 2. King Jamie somehow forgot. Right. My life here, not racing this week, fortunately, but we'll happily jump in the commentary box if you would like. I don't know. No, I'm all right. But thank you. You're very welcome to stick along now. And join in the chat. Okay, so right, lots of distractions ahead of me off here. Let's get back to the action. Sander the Dad has fallen down. There's a gap now, just over a second, as AsthmaFrog sets the fastest lap of the race, from 15.5. Those slower tyres, not compared to Sander the Dad, that is not holding him back at all. He's able to be pretty quick. And it's only a matter of time before those medium compound tyres will start running out. Hard tyres are going to last longer in the race. Rocket Gamer is in 4th. He's under pressure from Lethal Linds, who is a little bit further back than he wanted. Only 18 points separating Lethal Linds and the AsthmaFrog in the championship. And Lethal Linds has been on a fantastic run of form. A massive swing over the last 4 races. 64-point swing there has been in the championship, which has enabled us to have a nice close battle going into the final couple of races, but Lethal Linds currently in 5th, would be losing out 15 points. So that gap would increase rather dramatically, nearly doubling if it were to end like this. And Sander the Dad is not having any of it at the moment. He is set the fastest lap of the race. He is hunting down AsthmaFrog. He wants to get past, make the use of those medium compound tyres to try and get past him. But we'll stick on board with Lethal Linds at the moment as Rocket Gamer is falling farther and farther behind the front three. That's a bit of a tongue twister there. Will we see any lunges into the hairpin during this race? And some other questionable overtakes that may or may not have been spotted in the real race. Interesting. Who knows? We'll find out. But these guys, Lethal Linds, Panda, and DNG Titan, look like they want to try and get past Rocket Gamer. And that gap has opened up from Rocket Gamer to Pat Peder. It's opened up another second over the course of this lap so far. And I think Lethal Linds wants to get on with it. He's looking very, very racy behind him. Will he be able to get past with the help of DRS down the Ayrton Senna straight? And it looks like Rocket Gamer just had a decent exit out of that corner, and it was able to pull away. It was either he had a good exit or Lethal Linds had a really bad one. He didn't get the traction down, and he is still behind now, and he's now 8/10 back. So he's, I don't know if Rocket Gamer has just decided, oh, I need to kind of catch up, or I'm falling too far behind, or Lethal Linds has just made a small mistake and he's not been able to catch back up yet. But he's still there. They're still within DRS of each other. DRS is less powerful here. So H Zhao and Brain Core. H Zhao just coming out of the pits there. Both of these guys have already come into the pits. Didn't see if they were for front wings though, so don't know if I can add them to the front wing tally yet. For the wings tally, we will see. Have a look at the gap at the front. Sander the Dad, within a second. Will he get the DRS open on the straight, or did he just miss the activation point? Looks like he just missed the activation point. No DRS for the McLaren driver at this time, but he's not getting dropped, and neither is Pat Peder, who qualified alongside him on the front row. Got jumped at the start by Sander the Dads, who made a decent start, managed to get his way up, and Pat Peder now falling a little bit behind. 1.3, 1.6, kind of fluctuating between that kind of time. Is Pat Peder. Behind him now, 5 seconds down the road, Rocket Gamer, and he has a bit of a train behind him now, like Trilly used to do back in the day, or the Barrichello train when he was at where would he go? Williams, maybe. Had some of that. There was also an Alonso train at some point when he was at Alpine. So a little bit of a train forming behind Rocket Gamer now, and this part of the chicane. Ooh, Lethal Linds gained a lot there, and he's going to be in prime place to try and make a move, and he's going to want to keep it nice and steady through the final turn, because he will have DRS. There it is. And he's making a move to the outside. He's not quite close enough yet. So difficult to pass around this tight street circuit around the Principality of Monaco. And there are 3 distinct groups on the map, as you can see on the bottom right. There's the front group of 3, AsthmaFrog, Sander the Dad, and Pat Peder. Then you have this middle group of Rocket Gamer, Lethal Linds, Panda, and Titan, and then you have Braincore and H following each other towards the back of the field. They have both of those come into the pits. Come on, guys, give us some action. do it. I said there was uh, 3 distinct groups. There looks like now there's 4 distinct groups because as for the Frog, I don't know what he's done this lap, but he's pulled out a massive gap, 1.7 seconds now. So as for the Frog, putting his foot down, trying to break away from Sander the Dad and Pat Peter. Oh, there's a piece of front wing flying there, and he's all messed up. I didn't quite see what was happening because I was looking at the map, but looks like Panda has got past Lethal Linds. I don't know if there's going to be any team orders or anything, but Lethal Linds might not be so happy about it. And looks like it was part of his wing because I can see that end plate missing, and he is going to have much less front grip now because of that piece of broken bodywork. So that is another wing to add to our tally. He will probably need to come in and change that. He'll probably change it when he comes into the pits and tighten now. Not wasting any time. He wants to get past because he knows the Ferrari ahead of him is damaged. He's going to want to get past fairly quick. And the question is for Lethal Linds, can he recover, rally, get used to the new handling of that car and push on? Or will he need to come into the pits? D&G Titan looking down the inside, not quite close enough through Nouvelle chicane. And looking into Tosa, not quite enough space to go side by side through to back. Sorry, that Tosa's the other one, the Imola. Through Raskas now, and Lethal Linds does come into the pit. So that front wing needing to be changed. He's sticking on the medium compound tyres, and going to be a slower start. He should be able to get out ahead of Braincore and HL comfortably. So he will have some clear space to drive into and stretch his legs. As AsthmaFrog seems to be doing at the moment, 3.3 seconds is the gap at the front. And actually, we've missed Pat Peter passing Sander the Dad for second place. Looks like those medium tyres maybe have started falling off the cliff. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Let's have a look at the fastest, the closest group battle on track at the moment. Rocket Gamer in 4th, holding off GWA Panda, who is in 5th. Less than a second between these guys now to come through to back into the swimming pool. Such a fast and nail-biting part of the lap. And Panda definitely looking racing. Ooh. Don't know what happened there with Rocket Gamer. He kind of noticed a bit. Oh, Panda having a... Sorry, just yawning there. But Panda having a massive moment. A massive tank slapper. Trying to get the power down after that. And a big slide for him. And he has lost like half a second. Maybe a little bit more to Rocket Gamer. So he will have to work the tyres and get back up into range of an attack. It looks like he is doing so already. 0.7 now the gap. So it's a bit of a waiting game, this race. Monaco can be super exciting like we saw today in real F1, or can be a little bit dull and spread out. And because we've only got 9 guys in, it looks like it's the latter of those 2 at the moment. But there is an intriguing title battle unfolding. AsthmaFrog currently in the lead. He's in the lead of the championship. He had been on a bad run of form, only 17 points gained in the last 4 races. If he got a win here today, that would over double his total for the last 4 races and put him in very good stead going into the final race of the season in Bahrain next week. The gap behind him, 2.7 seconds to Pat Peter, who did start alongside him on the front row. Found his way. Oh, Lethal Linds has found a bit of pace on these new medium tyres, and he's set the fastest lap of the race so far. Sander the Dad did get up into second, but has fallen back down to third. We didn't see that pass, sadly. We were watching this battle behind. And these guys, Rocket Gamer in fourth, Panda in fifth. There was a bit of a coming together between these guys and Lethal Linds. Lethal Linds had to come into the pits for a new wing. He did. Oh, Rocket Gamer, the first of the time penalties for extending track limit. And Rocket Gamer has done that. And quickly followed by Braincore. Oh, Panda into the wall there. I didn't quite see what happened, so let's just replay that and grab that. Have a look on my feed. So it looks like he just took too much curb into the barrier, and that's a front wing there for Panda. He's got some damage on that front wing there, and will he come into the pit? He's on the hard tyres. It's not going to be ideal for his strategy, but we will have to see what he does. So it feels like a long lap as well around here, even though it's one of the shortest on the calendar. I think it might be the shortest actually, but it feels like a long lap when you've got a damaged front wing and you damage it at the front of the lap, at the start of the lap, and that is what he is feeling at the moment. Let's have a look back at that incident. This was him coming through the swimming pool chicane all over the back of Rocket Gamer, and as he came through the final turn, he was having a look to see if he could make a move with the DRS as he comes into the pits now to replace his tyres and his front wing. And there he is through taking too much curb through there and spinning and hitting the wall. That's where he's at. He's in the pits now, just coming out of the pits. He's come behind Lethal Linds and looks like Hate Zhao might be able to get past. Will Hate Zhao be able to get past? No, he doesn't. So Hate Zhao DMG has retired from the session. Okay, so the host has retired. We might get a bit of a lag spike. Let's see what's happened. So AsthmaFrog has dropped quite a bit of time now to Pat Peder. The gap was over 3 seconds. It is now 1.5. The Red Bull of Pat Peder is starting to reel in the race leader at the moment. 1.2 seconds now. Pat Peder's found some enormous pace, and he's taking chunks and chunks out of the Aston Martin's lead, coming down towards the hairpin now. He is going to be within a second at this rate by the time they get around to the start-finish straight, and he may have DRS. He's within a second now through the tunnel. 9/10 now, only the gap, and Pat Peder has found some pace, or has AsthmaFrog hit the wall or got a bit of damage? Let's have a look, see if we can spot anything on his car. Can't spot anything as he comes past through the swimming pool, over the curb, rode that nicely, and he's pulled out now a gap to 1.3 seconds. So looks like he saw that attack come in and has just decided to eke out a bit more of a gap to try and make himself safer down the straight. He's done so, and he has fended off that attack for now. That is currently, though, the closest battle on track at the moment. Sander the Dad is in third. He's 9.5 seconds back from Pat Peder, and then a further 9.5 seconds back from him is Rocket Gamer. Lethal Linds 15 seconds back from him. Panda 12 seconds back from him. They're all a bit spread out. Braincore 7 seconds further back from him, and Hate Zhao just 3.2 tenths down on him, and it looks like he has no front wing as well. That is another front wing to add to the tally as he comes into the pits. We're up to 5. Oh yes, 5 front wing. Good stuff. There he comes into the pits. That's a nice helmet design. I like that. Hard tires going on for HR's car, and from there, and he is going to be lapped. And it's only taken 16 laps and a few pit stops for other people, but AsthmaFrog and Pat Peder are a lap up. HR, I should say, is a lap down. So we're on lap 16 of 39 of this famous Monaco Grand Prix. Currently, the championship leader is in the lead of this race. 1.6, 1.7 seconds the gap back to Pat Peder, who's in the Red Bull, trying to chase him down. He did launch a bit of an attack and managed to get within a second, but AsthmaFrog has fended that off and opened up a gap now, nearly 2 seconds. Sander the Dad is in third, did briefly get up to second place earlier on in this race, off the line actually. He started on the medium tyres. He has still not come into the pits as of yet. He should be coming into the pits fairly soon though. Rocket Gamer is in fourth. He was the first of our drivers to pick up a time penalty for extending track limits. He is currently though safely in fourth place. He fended off attacks from Lethal Linds and Panda as well before they had to come into the pits to change their front wings. Lethal Linds is second in the championship, only 18 points behind AsthmaFrog, but he's going to be losing 15 points to him if it finished as it does, as it stands now. Lethal Linds is looking to try and claw that gap back from Rocket Gamer. He has set the fastest lap of the race in doing so, but will he wear out those medium tyres too much? GWA Panda, his teammate behind him, put a nice tried to mount an attack on Rocket Gamer, but as we saw earlier on in the race on the replay feature, he lost it through turn 1, took a little bit too much curb trying to chase down Rocket Gamer, and that sent him oversteering and into the barrier. He changed his front wing, put on these fresh medium tyres, took off his old hard ones, and he's now back on track and chasing down. Braincore is in 7th, started last, so he's at least made up some places. He currently has 3 seconds of time penalties as Sander the Dad finally comes into the pits. He's been passed by Rocket Gamer and Lethal Linds. I don't think he'll get passed by Panda. Panda's a bit too far back. But that is his change of tyres done. As long as it all stays green, he will not need to pit again. And as long as he keeps out the wall. And as we know with Sander the Dad, sometimes isn't the case. But we know he has good pace. He was able to run up with the leaders for a good while in this race. I'm sure he will turn those hard tyres on pretty quickly when it comes to temperature and be on his way. But Panda is within 2 seconds of him, and just seeing him will give him a bit of oomph to try and push the foot down and improve his pace and catch up to the guy. So let's keep an eye on that battle as we're going ahead. But 31 seconds now is Rocket Gamer behind Pat Peder. You can see Pat Peder and AsthmaFrog on the far right hand side of the map, just heading through the tunnel now Rocket Gamer has just started lap 19, so that is how far he is behind these guys, and that is a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting for Sander the Dad. So it looks like he's taken too much of the corner in turn 1, and he's picked up some warnings, and so that will not be good for him. Those around him though will be happy, because that means that if they can get within a certain time, they can jump frog them. Not just, sorry, at the end of the race, and not just on track. But Lethal Linds is within a second now of Rocket Gamer. He looks to have the pace, as Rocket Gamer, I believe, is yet to pit. So let's have a look to see if he makes a move. He is all over the back of him now, only 2/10, almost pushing him around the second part of swimming pool. And let's have a look. Will he be able to pass Rocket Gamer the second time of asking? First time didn't go too well. He lost part of his front wing and he had to come in to replace it. Let's see if he's learnt that lesson and makes an overtake in a safe place. He is all over the back of that Mercedes car as they're heading up the hill. And he's coming alongside of him though. It's so tight around here. A little bit of a tap on the exit of Casino down into what's it called? I should know this. Mirabeau. There we are. Mirabeau 1 through the hairpin. Quite close enough yet. But he is all over the back of him. Will he try and make a move down into the Nouvelle chicane at the end of this tunnel and down the hill? It's a popular passing spot. He goes for a late lunge, and they make contact, and he's lost the back end of it. He's still going for now. Has he got any damage? Doesn't look like he's escaped that, but that's put Sander the Dad and Panda on the back of these guys. Now there is a 4-way scrap, and it's going to become even more frantic now for Rocket Gamer to keep all of these guys behind him. We come into the pits. No, he doesn't. Lethal Linds and all these guys behind are going to have the DRS. Lethal Linds is going to have to look behind him as well, because Sander the Dad is also looking racy, just as racy as the Ferrari, in fact. And it looks like he's just held off a move from Sander into turn 1. But this is hotting up, this contest between these 4 guys, and one little mistake has caused... that was a bit of a coming together there between Sander and Panda. Say that 5 times fast. Looks like Panda has lost some of his ring and he's already falling behind. Looks like Sander the Dad looking to make a move up the inside of Lethal Linds, and not realizing that Panda had gone down the outside of him, had made a move down the outside, and Sander came back across to take the racing line and has moved into Panda, and he's hit the wall and has lost part of his front wing. That is not going to be good, and if I was Panda, I might be a bit annoyed at that. It's not nice when you have that done to you. Sander the Dad making a move up the inside. There's not enough space there. Rocket Gamer comes into the pits. Sander the Dad looked like he was really struggling for traction. So Rocket Gamer into the pits. He's got a new front wing. Panda's come in. He's replaced his front wing and his tyres as well. Rocket Gamer now has been released. Sander the Dad is up to 4th. Lethal Linds up to 3rd now. 45 seconds now, the gap to the leader, AsthmaFrog. It's only a matter of time before these leaders come into the pits. There he is, the leader, AsthmaFrog. Only 2 seconds ahead of Pat Peter. He hasn't properly dropped Pat Peter though. So there is still hope. There is still hope for a battle for the lead later on in this race. But AsthmaFrog doing it really, really well. Into a rhythm now at the front of the grid. Just keeping those hard tyres in the right working area. But he is going to come up onto some traffic. So you might want to start thinking about coming into the pits. so that he doesn't get held up too much by this incoming traffic. But we will have to see what he does. Right, so our race leader comes into the pits, closely followed by Pat Peter. It's a race on pit lane between these guys, and Pat Peter might have the advantage if he puts together a nice quick stop. Also, AsthmaFrog does, and he doesn't get close enough. Oh, Rocket Gamer's retired from the session. He's in the wall, you can see there. The Rocket Gamer into the wall. And is that just the right timing for Pat Peter and AsthmaFrog? Will we see a safety car? I'm not sure if we will. Let's have a look. Hey, Chow. It's just past Rocket Gamer now. And no, the stewards have moved that car. So there will be no safety car. And Rocket Gamer is out of this race, sadly, for the Mercedes. And Sander the dad, pretty close on the back of Lethal Linds. Lethal Linds now only 24 seconds behind Pat Peter, who is in turn 1.9 seconds behind AsthmaFrog. So gap coming down, but that's because the front two guys had come into the pits. And this is kind of where we're at the moment in the race. Only 7 people left in this race. We're on lap 24 of 39. And we're just on board with this battle. It's the closest one on track at the moment. Sander, the dad, was ahead of Lethal Linds, but made a bit of a mistake. And Lethal Linds managed to get past him. They got tangled up with Rocket Gamer and also Panda as well. It was 4 guys all kind of close together on track, and it got a bit hot and frantic. And this is where we're at now. Panda and Rocket Gamer had to come into the pits. And Lethal Linds now comes into the pits. He's been on those tyres for a while. He puts a new set of tyres on. Not a new wing though. And he is coming out now. That should be his last pit stop. And we come out ahead of his teammate. Looks like his teammate's just rounded the final turn now. So he should be comfortably out ahead. And in 4th. And he's now only 17 seconds behind Sander the dad. Now, will he be able to catch up on those newer tyres? We will have to keep an eye out on that gap. But now the closest battle on track is Pat Peter, currently 1.3 seconds behind AsthmaFrog. Every time he gets close enough to maybe think about making an attack, AsthmaFrog pulls away a bit and opens up the gap. But Pat Peter, fastest lap of the race, that is going to help his cause significantly as the gap is just teetering around 1 second at the moment between these guys. It's now 0.8 of a second. And he is reeling him in. But will AsthmaFrog have enough about him to be able to pull out a gap like he did last time? Earlier on in the race, Pat Peter kind of launched an attack, got really close to him, got within a second, but AsthmaFrog responded and pulled out a massive gap. And looks like that gap's up to a second now as Pat Peter goes through the chicane. But AsthmaFrog is going to have a bit of traffic. That is Hake Zhao. But that is his AI, so he should just be able to drive through it. But we'll see. His AI will get out of the way. So not too much of a held up, actually. 1.3 seconds is the gap now. So AsthmaFrog doing the same thing as he did earlier on in the race. Pat Peter launches an attack, gets within a second. AsthmaFrog goes, oh, okay, I need to up the pace a bit and eke out that gap again. And he's done just that. As Lethal Linds picks up 3 seconds of time penalties for multiple corner cutting warnings, but Pat Peter is not letting go of this battle. Let's have a look. Now, as we're watching this battle, let's have a look back at the incident from earlier on. This was what happened. Nice close racing between these guys. And then it all went wrong, heading down here. Sander the dad moved to the inside, Panda deciding, oh, I'll fill that space. And he gets pushed into the wall. So that is what happens. We were on lap 28 of 39 here in Monaco. AsthmaFrog currently 1.8 seconds in the lead. He seems to have enough pace about him to be able to open up a gap to whenever Pat Peter launches an attack and gets close. And the gap now 2 seconds to the Red Bull guy who doesn't seem to have an answer for the pace of our championship leader, who has been on a terrible run of form recently, but has pulled it out of the bag here today so far. We still have 10 laps to go of this race, and all can change in the drop of a hat. So, Pat Peter is wanting to close him down. Currently, both of these guys do not have they do not have any time penalties. The same cannot be said though for Sander the dad, who is in third. He has some time penalties, but also so does Lethal Linds. But these guys a long way apart from each other. Lethal Linds 13 seconds behind the McLaren. The Sander the dad comfortably has one hand on that podium trophy, and it will be, let's see, has he had any podiums so far this season? He has not, so it will be his first podium this season. And Sander the dad has shown pace in many of the races so far this season, and it has not worked out for him. And he will be looking at this reduced field, currently running in third, going, oh yes, I fancy me a podium and a decent chunk of points. And that is what he's looking for. He currently has 22 points in the standing so far. Third place would be close to doubling his points tally at the moment. So definitely wanting to jump in and keep that third place. Lethal Linds is trying to do his best to hunt him down, but that gap is pretty stable around the 13-second mark, and his teammate currently 3.2 seconds behind him as he starts lap 30 for himself. Hake Zhao, who came in late, missed qualifying, but has managed to join the lobby. He is in 6th, 33 seconds behind Panda, and then just behind him, Raincore, 1.6 seconds behind him. He's currently the last runner on field, but we have had Rocket Gamer and DNG Titan both retire from this race. Just a little bit of a spin there for Raincore. He gets back going again. Lost a whole chunk of time, but he will still get some points if he finishes this race. So not such a bad thing at all. But here is our leader. He looks like he's had everything in control. Had a fantastic start at the beginning of the race. Managed to get away well, keep his lead. And he has led every single lap of this race so far. So AsthmaFrog crossing the line for lap 32 of 39. We are closing in on the end of this race around the Circuit de Monaco, around the streets of the Principality, such a famous track. And we are on board with the Aston Martin driver, the current championship leader, who looks in massive control of this race, although that was a little bit wide there and he had to get out of the throttle a little bit, and that has cost him a big chunk of time. Gap was 1.8, now 1.4, so he's lost 4/10 just by running wide a little bit right through the hairpin. So it can all change just like that. You get out of your rhythm and struggle a bit, and that can lose you a whole chunk of time. And he's now trying to build that gap up again. 1.67 now, 1.7, 1.8 now the gap. So it looks like he's got firm grip of this race and is in control. Pat Peter, the only one really who has looked to challenge him for the race win, but every time he seems to get close to AsthmaFrog, Frog jumps off and opens up that gap again, and that's what we've seen on multiple occasions in this race so far. And as we draw this race to a close fairly soon, it looks like that will continue towards the end of this race. There's then a massive gap down to Sander the Dad in the McLaren. He's just coming to start his 33rd lap of this race now. He has had a good lap. This would be a good result for him, even though he is 41, nearly 42 seconds behind the leader. He is comfortably in third place, although the gap is coming down to Lethal Linds, but I'm not sure it's coming down fast enough for there to be any implications for the end of this race. And that's where we're at the moment. It's been interesting. There's been some tight battles at different points, as we see Brain Core gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cutting warnings. Easily done around this circuit, even though it's mostly separated by walls, and they can come thick and fast if you get something wrong. Let's have a look at how much these penalties are worth. Braincore at the back of the field currently has 6 seconds of penalties. Looks like he's come into the pit as well. Just come back out again. Yes, I think he did. Yeah, he did. So he's dropped 26 seconds behind. It's like some new tyres for him, maybe a new front wing. And just seen Panda now is within a second to the Ferrari guys. Will there be any team orders for the championship? Lethal Linds is currently losing out points to AsthmaFrog. He will not want to lose out loads, and I think the more that Lethal Linds can stay in front of Panda, the better his chances will be of overturning that gap in the final race weekend of the season. Next week is Bahrain. It's going to be a sprint weekend, which means we have a sprint race which has points attached to it, and we will have a main feature race as well with the full F1 point scoring system on it. So there is a potential for 33 points on offer. 34 points, sorry. If they get the fastest lap, it's 34, maximum 34 points for someone who gets the sprint race win, the main race win, and the fastest lap. That is the most points you can get, 34 from a sprint race weekend. Oh, and looks like Lethal Linds may have come in contact with the wall there. Maybe lost a piece of his front wing. Let's have a look. See if we can see. Yes, he has. There's a big chunk of that front wing off in there. So that is not helping him out at all. And another little tap of the wall as it goes from bad to worse. And when you've lost part of your front wing, it's so much easier to find the Armco and further damage your car. And as this is happening, Pat Peder has really reeled in AsthmaFrog. We've only got 3 or 4 laps of this race to go. And Pat Peder is within striking distance of the man who has led this race for the whole thing. And apparently someone said Asthma's hit the wall at swimming pool and Pat Peder's right up his ass. And we can see that on the stream now. AsthmaFrog then has hit the wall. He has come into contact with the wall, and the person who looks so in control of this race now is under big pressure. But with his main title rival behind and struggling in 5th, he does have leniency. He can let Pat Peder go and still be in good shape in the championship, but I don't know if he watches the stream, so he may put up a fight and we could see some sparks, more than the sparks that we're already seeing off the back of these cars as they go around this circuit. So looks like we are going to have a grandstand finish to this race. Will AsthmaFrog be able to hold off Pat Peder? Looked like there was maybe just a small touch there. Doesn't look like there's any big damage though. But final few laps of this race are going to be really interesting. Has AsthmaFrog damaged his car beyond recognition? Not beyond recognition. It looks fine to me at the moment. Has he got a little bit of wing missing? I don't think he does. But anytime you make contact with the wall around this track, it kind of throws off your rhythm. It brings that doubt into your mind and makes you slow down a little bit and be a bit more wary of the walls, because any contact that you have with them, you just it reminds you that this could all go south with just a hint of understeer. If I hit the brakes wrong, if I take too much of a curb, if I tap the wall just a little bit too hard, it could end all the hard work that we've done for 38 laps so far, or 37 laps we've completed. We're on 38 now. And all of this will be going through the mind of AsthmaFrog, who has led this race from start to finish and is in the lead of the championship, has been on such a bad run of form, but has pulled it out the bag so far. But it looks like he is really struggling for that confidence. He has not been able to open up a gap to Pat Peder. And the guys behind look all close as well. There's a Haas and a Ferrari, but both of those guys are lapped, so they're not going to really threaten this battle. It's all about the green car and the blue car, the Aston Martin and the Red Bull. To the end of this lap, with 2 laps to go, we're going to be starting the last lap soon. And if Pat Peder's going to make a move, he's going to have to do it now. Is he going to be close enough? I'm not sure. He is. Let's have a look. He's only 4 tenths behind. He'll have the DRS open, but he's not close enough. But he has much more confidence through turn 1. You can see AsthmaFrog really wary about where he puts his car because he's hit the wall and he doesn't want to give up the race win, and he's just driving a bit stiff, you can tell. And Pat Peter is all over the back of him. He's really looking at this now, going, I can take this win, I can take this away from AsthmaFrog. AsthmaFrog doesn't need to worry, he's already ahead of his championship rival. He will open up the gap in the standings, but this Haas Ghost is just going to be getting in the way of Pat Peter. It's going to be super off-putting having those ghosts right near close to him. And Lethal Linds has actually made his way past GWA Panda, so that's interesting. Lethal Linds will get finish with 12 points if he stays where he is. Oh, brain core, another warning, and looks like AsthmaFrog has just managed to get his head together, get his thoughts together, and loosen up a little bit. And he's pulled a gap, and he is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix ahead of Pat Peter. Nearly a very close race at the end. And Pat Peter putting in a fantastic performance to put him under pressure at the end. But what a fantastic win there for AsthmaFrog, who takes the full 25 points on offer and will extend his championship lead going into the final race of the season. We're just waiting for Sander the Dad, who is crossing the line with no front wing. He actually finishes third, even though everyone, pretty much him, except for Brain Core, has taken the checkered flag already because they were lapped. Sander the Dad was not lapped, but he was pretty far back at the end of that. But he will take the final podium place, which is his first of the season. And I think he'll be very happy with that result indeed. There he is, our race winner. AsthmaFrog taking the top step of the podium. Only though his third win of the season. It's amazing that someone who has over 200 points this season has only won 3 races, but that has been his consistency through the first part of the season, and he is definitely recovered and bounced back from that poor run of form the last 4 races by only picking up 17 points. He picks up the full 25 and wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Pat Peter, fantastic second place, put him right under pressure through many different parts of that race, finishing second. And Sander the Dad, a well-earned podium finish for him. A fantastic start off the line, and recovered well after hitting the wall a little bit later on. Panda did manage to finish ahead of Lethal Linds because of time penalties. So Lethal Linds finished in 5th. He will lose 15 points in the title race to AsthmaFrog. Haig Zhao came from not qualifying to finish in 6th. Good result for him. Brain Core finished in 7th. Then we had Rocket Gamer and Danger Titan as DNFs. So there we go. That was the race. A fantastic drive there from AsthmaFrog, leading from start to finish, but he did come under some serious pressure from Pat Peter towards the end, and that can happen once someone hits the wall. and loses a bit of confidence in themselves. But he managed to hold off, and he has opened up the gap. Now he's opened up the gap to, so he opened it up by 10, so it's now 28 points. Now the gap, he will have, if everything stays the same, 230 points, and Lethal Linds will have 197 points. So that's a decent gap going into the final race of the season. Next time out, we thought we were going to have a bit of a championship scrap, but it looks like AsthmaFrog has got that. I've got a nice healthy margin to take into a sprint weekend in Bahrain next time out. Right, that is all we have time for. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much if you were with us live. Really appreciate everyone who's tapped in messages and kept us up to date with stuff that was happening in the race. Thank you for that. And if you're watching this back and you're still here at this point, thank you so much for your support and watching this back. It's been a fantastic season so far, and looking forward to the last race of the season. Next week we're in Bahrain. It's a sprint weekend, so we will have one shot quali, then we will have a 25% race for the sprint, and then we'll have a 50% race. That sprint will set the grid for the 50% race that will happen to round out this season and this game. The next season that we do in F1XL will be on F123. So yes, it'll be a good send off for this game, I think. But congratulations to AsthmaFrog for the race win. Fantastic race there from Pat Peder as well. Pat Peder is my driver of the day. If I can give it to AsthmaFrog, but Pat Peder, my driver of the day today, put on a fantastic display to keep in touch with AsthmaFrog all throughout the race. Made multiple attempts for the lead and did a great job, not taking any damage as well. So there we are, my driver of the day. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you again next week, 9 p.m. GMT, for the finale of Division 4 in F1XL.